Hey everyone, welcome to the first episode of the Q Line podcast featuring people from the r/roller coasters Discord. Today we're joined by Andrew, aka Dialga305.
Hello.
And Zach, aka Zach.
Good one, hi.
Ben, aka Tolgerb.
Hi.
And Harry, also known as Coasterbot.
Hello.
All right, so basically what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be talking about some of the upcoming projects for 2018 and the future years to come, as well as the latest trips we've all taken for roller coasters. And we'll move into general speculation about future projects and just general free discussion about roller coasters or just anything in general. So I guess we'll start over in the UK with their two coasters for 2018, Icon and Secret Weapon 8. Icon is a Mack mega coaster being constructed at Blackpool Pleasure Beach, and SW8, also known as Secret Weapon 8, is a GCI wooden coaster being constructed at Alton Towers. Those are both in England.
Yeah, both very iconic coasters for the UK. First, Icon is the UK's... Yes. First, Icon is the UK's first coaster to feature multiple launches. With the same track, yep. And then SW8 is the UK's first wooden coaster in 22 years. So both are very big additions for both of the parks. Icon is set to obviously be Blackpool's probably flagship attraction now, being both the newest coaster at the park and probably when it opens the best coaster at the park.
Wow.
I'm sure Zach would disagree there.
The big one.
While SW8 probably won't be Alton Towers' biggest, well, it won't be their biggest ride or probably their best ride, but it'll be a great addition for the families who go to Towers, as at the moment there aren't many family attractions at the park. And SW8 sets out to be a very well-themed and hopefully very well-put-together experience.
I'm wondering if it'll be able to 13 is obviously supposed to be a family coaster.
Yes.
It is.
But
Yeah,
it doesn't really seem to draw in like little kids. Like because of the general kind of menacing theme to it, and we don't know what SW8's theme is yet, but
Wasn't it rumored to be like the Wicker Man or something?
Something along those lines.
it's probably going to be something creepy again, knowing all
Wow.
the towers, but
At the end of the day... Go on.
Well, it isn't. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the coaster's located in, I believe it's Is it Katana Canyon? Kataga Canyon?
it's in Mutiny Bay, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
Well,
On the map this year it says Gloomy Wood.
Oh,
Oh
So
boy.
it's everywhere.
so
it's like
effectively,
3 areas at once.
yes, effectively the ride is going to be located in one of those areas. So we can imagine a theme along the lines of one of the 3 areas. Catania Canyon is a kind of African kind of theme, bit sketchy there. Then you've got Mutiny Bay, it's a pirate theme, and then what's the last one called?
Gloomy
Wood. Gloomy Wood is just some haunted kind of theme. I think they'll probably end up trying to go for a theme that fits all 3 areas at the same time. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting addition
Ghost pirates of
Africa.
The Congo.
Africa. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
It started
But,
off very pirate, like the SW8 original signs. They were like very
Yes.
pirate themed, but they're not as much now. Like the newer ones.
That's interesting. What the structure? What could the structure be? Something pirate? The big structure that the track crosses through on the plans.
Like a shipwreck.
That's what I was maybe thinking. The original thing was, what if it's like a big wicker man or whatever? But
yeah.
also,
You're gonna get Nicolas Cage to be there on the opening day.
not the bees. But in terms of what's actually been constructed on that so far, the lift hill is very strange looking. It has 2 angles of ascent. We can get a picture up right now. But yeah, does anyone want to talk about what that could possibly be or possibly mean?
Yeah,
2
well,
angles.
Towers have initially said, in the plans anyway, that there'll be some sort of magnetic lift
They
the
said
question at the
silent
moment,
lift, didn't they?
silent magnetic lift. So the question is the moment is that a launch or is that some sort of magnetic anti-rollback mechanism? We've seen towers use a magnetic anti-rollback mechanism before on the Smiler, so it could just be that again. But other people think it's going to be some sort of LSM technology which drives the trains up the lift hill, similar to Maverick.
But
That's a point.
Scenic Railway at Dreamland Margate, that has a cable lift, but it's a very different style of cable lift. So it could, I think,
Yes.
could be something similar to that, maybe.
I think if
True.
GCI were to try the launch, I think they'd do it better than RMC with Lightning Rod.
Lightning Rod, yeah.
But I still think they wouldn't take the risk after the fiasco that was Lightning Rod.
Well, you never
Well,
know.
The thing with Lightning Rod is that I could be wrong, but Lightning Rod its launch was provided by Velocity Magnets, which was at that time, if I recall, the first time that companies ever manufactured a launch. They usually stay with brake runs and magnetic braking. So if GCI were to go with a manufacturer who has maybe done work with Intamin or B&M in the past, where they have the LSM technology down to a more reliable
Or
sign.
Premier Rides.
Yes.
Or Gerstlauer.
Or any other manufacturer that uses LSMs besides.
Obligatory
say-
Gerst mentioned by Harry. Yeah.
It's true.
I feel that they can make the LSM launch work, and I mean, it's not going to be as powerful, I imagine, as Lightning. Because
No.
from looking
no.
at the lift shaping, it doesn't seem like it can have a lot of speed going over that crest into the drop.
Well, that's an interesting point, actually, because if you look at a very similar sized GCI over at
Busch Gardens, Williamsburg.
Busch Gardens, Williamsburg.
Invader.
Invader, yes. Invader, as it is called. When they obviously crest the hill, is it a left-hand turn? And that left-hand turn is completely unbanked,
Yeah.
right? Whereas we can already see that the support structure on SW8 shows that the initial turnaround has some banking to it, and especially when you get into it, it has quite a considerable amount of banking to it.
Yeah,
And that's-
Invader's. Keep talking. Sorry.
And that's, with hardly a change in height. So you would think that the train goes over the lift hill with some speed. And as Zach said, that could be a cable lift hill doing that. Or it could just be a chain lift hill. We don't know. And it's very much up to speculation as of now.
Well, the thing about the banking is that's very much a GCI thing. Like Invader's actually an oddity in terms of having a flat turn. Like all of GCI never flattens turns almost. Like they're all, even straight camelback hills, they always have some sort of weird banking or angle to it.
This is true.
So it could mean it's going fast, or it could just be GCI doing their usual thing.
Like Gwazi,
But,
that has quite heavy banking before going down the first drop, and that's
Or
chain
it
lift.
did.
Or did and that was chain lift. Very slow chain lift.
I mean, if it is something like Maverick's lift hill is approximately 20 miles per hour. I'd take a guess at it.
That's
It's
hefty.
it's not the fastest launch, but it's a still considerable speed that you don't really. I mean, I don't think Alcatraz is going to pull a Maverick and have it launch into a extreme drop.
No.
Well, no.
I don't know if this might just be grasping for straws here, but I don't know. This seems all very kind of bizarre, obviously, for a lift hill, but I was wondering if they might do any theming around it that might have anything to do with the weird angles.
With the theming, from what I can tell from the image of the drop, it seems like it's going to be enclosed, and that I feel it could be, except for majority of the ride, because GCIs are quite loud coasters.
Yeah, they're gonna have to enclose a lot of it.
So we could be seeing something like
Gold
a
Striker.
family coaster version of Gold Striker.
Yeah,
Mhm.
with the first drop being in a tunnel.
Well, yeah, the first turnaround and most of the first drop is in a tunnel, and then it kind of exits the tunnel as it goes underneath the lift hill.
Similar to Invader, as in halfway down the drop the tunnel ends.
Yes, and most likely because there's another high point coming underneath the lift hill, the tunnel might continue again. Another note is the fact that I think there's two angles of ascent, because the steeper angle is just enough for the track to get over the brake run. So the brake run goes underneath the lift hill. And if you look, the
to
metal,
give clearance.
the metal support beam is essentially flush with the track on the left side where the lift hill goes up. And that's with the steeper angle of ascent. And without that, it kind of wouldn't make it over. So, yeah.
This is a quick thought about the multi-angle lift. So we know Alton Towers has a high restriction where they cannot build above the tree line.
Yep.
Do you think it's possible they went with the lift hill so they could extend the lift hill over a further distance to get to the same height so they can add more elements underneath it? Or do you think that's just there's actually another reason, like you just said?
It could just be a win-win situation where it's a happy accident that they're able to fit in more, or that it is what you're saying. I don't know.
It could be that they just want the lift hill to get to the end of the site where it's highest. And that makes sense because obviously the end of the site is taller, which means you can build higher because the trees are higher at that point. So yeah, it could just be down to that.
But moving on to Icon, which I don't know as much about because, well, I don't know. But that is a Mack multi-launch coaster going to Blackpool Pleasure Beach. And what's you guys' thoughts on Icon?
Just cheese hunt. Similar to that.
I think... just...
In like ride experience.
Well, I believe the irony is that at Blackpool, Icon's like the most iconic ride. I still personally believe Big One will be the most iconic ride there still.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree as well.
But for Icon itself, I mean, it looks promising. I mean, it's something that the UK has never really seen. I mean...
Yeah, no, it hasn't seen. It hasn't seen at all.
Yeah, and I might sound stupid saying this, but besides, what was it, Thunder Loop at Alton Towers, is there an inverting launch coaster in the UK?
Oh, that's a very good question.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Revolution, if you count
Oh,
the
No, yeah, no, that is a launch coaster. Yeah, it's a Revolution.
Okay, I apologize for that.
It's a very old one.
A very good one.
Stop. The current worry about Icon, I think, among like Harry, I know you've expressed this concern, is that it won't be very forceful.
Yeah, I am very worried about the ride's
It'll
force.
be Blackpool Monorail
Yeah.
Part 2.
Well,
yeah, because
you know,
you've had that bad experience with Blue Fire, right?
Mack rides aren't known for very forceful launches. I don't think any of their launches are particularly forceful.
Helix feels like you're just going down a straight track, like with no acceleration.
And
Now-
this is what Blue Fire feels like to me.
Blue Fire was better than Helix, just for me at least.
That makes me very upset. So yeah, I am very skeptical about it. I think it's going to be a good ride, obviously, because the Mack trains are very comfortable, and I'm sure the ride will be good. I just don't think it'll be anything like special. I'm sure there'll a load of coaster enthusiasts will rave about it because Mack's so good and all this jazz. But yeah, I'm just very skeptical about how forceful the ride is and how fun it's going to be. I just found Blue Fire a bit tame and a bit boring.
I
but
think
that was just
But
me.
that's because you expected it to be forceful, or not?
This is true.
Yeah,
I think Icon looks better than Blue Fire, but not
I
as
agree.
good as Helix.
yeah.
Definitely.
Like you were definitely expecting it to be forceful. When I went, I wasn't because of you and Sam's experience. I liked it. I thought it was great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, looking at the RCDB page for Icon, I do notice its top speed is only approximately 50 miles per hour. However, the G-force, it reaches, according to RCDB, reaches a max G-force of 4.3 Gs when it's going to be finished.
You've got to
So
be
that-
skeptical about G-force, though.
Yes, I am skeptical, but here's my hope for Icon, is that since you're dealing with a not as high speed, with a smaller speed, you're able to do a lot more elements with it, and they can be a lot tighter.
Mhm.
So
Also-
as Sam, as you said of Helix, you said Helix launches are not the most forceful thing in the world, but the
inversions
elements
The Norwegian
forceful.
loop was very intense. I'm thinking that highest G-force thing you see in RCDB is going to be concentrated into like a single moment, be like
Yeah.
a sustained
It probably will be.
intensity.
That's what I mean. G-force is always a very difficult one because it's not really the amount of G-force. It's how sustained it is, how long the G-force is sustained for, and that's when you notice it. If it's like 0.1 of a second, it hits you and that's it. But if it's sustained over a second, you feel it a lot more and you think it's more forceful. And I don't know whether Icon will be the second kind, arguably the better kind.
I do like how it goes through the big one structure.
Yeah, we were looking at those top G-forces on rides the other day, and we were looking at the CGA ones, and it said Gold Striker was about as intense as Flight Deck.
That's just not true.
That's not true.
Flight Deck is very sustained intensity.
There you go.
But back onto speed. On the logo for Icon, there's a symbol. I think it's Japanese, and it means speed. So it's a bit ironic.
Do you have your Icon mug yet, Zach?
I do.
Oh my!
They're already selling the mugs.
It's here. It's in my hands.
So,
Hey, before we move on into the U.S. projects, we just briefly touch on some of the other worldwide stuff we're seeing. The Energylandia Hyper going to Poland by Intamin looks incredible.
Very good.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at the layout in a while, but doesn't it have multiple inversions?
there's no inversions.
It doesn't have any inversions.
Sorry.
Really close.
Well, it has some sort of pseudo inversion, like a pseudo
Yes,
dive
single
loop,
dive.
really.
Yeah, you know how non-inverted loops technically aren't inverted,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
they kind of are.
Yeah.
They feel like an Immelman and a dive loop together or something. Kind of.
Yeah.
The only thing I sort of have for it is worry, is the same what people say about Skyrush is the staple in. If you'll get the same thing on there.
Is it a winged hyper like Skyrush?
No, I mean the restraints and the style hyper it is.
But Intamin have fixed those restraints, as we've seen on Terran and future editions.
Oh, does it have the Terran restraints?
It has.
Well, I'm sure it will do.
It looks like
I
it has
imagine
Terran
so.
restraints.
That's amazing.
Because
It has
Red
that,
Force has
right.
Terran restraints, right?
Yes. It does.
But another hyper that's being built right now is actually in Australia, the DC Rivals.
Oh yes.
I don't think any of us are ever going to be able to ride it, but it definitely looks good.
It looks like the Expedition G-Force of
Yeah,
Australia.
yeah, I agree there.
It easily looks like one of the best coasters in Australia.
It looks really good, but the color scheme ruins it for me.
I like the
nice.
color
I
scheme.
like the color scheme.
It kind of reminds me of X2 in a way, sort of.
I'm not a big fan of the Joker thing that's going on with it, because the way I understand theming, the Q line is going to be building up all the rivalry DC universe.
I really
Superman,
thought it was going to be a
Joker.
Suicide Squad when they first
That's
started.
what-
building
that's
it.
what
Oh my
I'm-
gosh. Oh
But
my
then-
gosh. If it were right. Oh my god.
Then we saw the animation, and when I saw the Joker outline on the top list, I was like, I was like, oh, that's a little bit of a cop out. I feel because maybe
Yeah.
it's because I'm so used to seeing the Joker coast in the United States with Six Flags, and I don't know. I just didn't. The theming doesn't really hit me. The name is not the greatest name either.
Nevertheless, I think it'll be the Coast Australia, the one you think about when you think about coasters in Australia.
Oh, yeah, probably. And it's opening in October this year, so.
Oh
Most
wow!
notable coaster for me, at least in Australia, is I don't know. This just proves to you how little I know about Australia. So what's that Eurofighter they have there? That's
Abyss.
The Sword of
Yes,
Mine.
it is.
Sword the Ride one.
yeah.
The one that's Sword the Ride's elements, but in a different layout.
It looks good. It looks like a better.
I guess that October opening makes sense because Australia's summer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why that is the thing. But if you guys don't mind, we can move over to the United States where some very interesting things are happening.
Well, before that, I think we should mention Valkyria.
Oh yeah, Valkyria.
I mean, yes, we lost Kanonen. Apparently, it's
Rip
going to
Kanonen.
some other,
It's going to some park in the States, apparently.
either in the States and Europe. We don't know.
Mhm.
But I mean,
Val-
Valkyria looks like it, to me at least, is the best looking dive coaster.
It's what Valraven should have been.
and hopefully, and there's no investing animation, but hopefully
Yeah.
it stays that way.
Also, as someone who's been to Leesburg, the park does not have a lot of theming at all, and it is Loke, which does have a bit of theming. Combined with this, I'm glad they're at least trying to theme the park up. Because
And didn't you say that they're right before you went? I mean, right after you went, they started theming the Baldur's Queue.
yeah, Baldur's Queue was or they're gonna. I'm pretty sure they're gonna add to Baldur's Queue for the new area, the myths and legends or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was there, it was still bare bones, outdoor cattle pen kind of. But yeah, all right.
A few things you
talking-
missed with Europe as well. Fly
Oh yeah, Fly.
Oh yeah.
and
Fantasyland.
Eurosat 2.0.
Eurosat 2.0.
The VR
Do-
and dual loading station.
I hope they don't pull a Kong and just make it worse than it already was.
Eurosat was pretty bad.
Wait, it's meant to have a dual loading station.
And
It's
VR apparently.
Oh my gosh, Eurosat is like laughably horrible.
Wait, Harry,
I
what did
agree.
you think to Eurosat? Oh yeah, you didn't
I
like
disliked it.
Yeah, well, none of us liked it. Well,
Waste of time.
Fantasyland is, in terms of Fly, I think is becoming the destination for Vacomas. The best Vacomas.
And well, we don't know
Isn't that
who's manufacturing Fly, but I think it's safe to say that the manufacturer for Fly will be Vekoma, looking at the concept art release where it
Yes.
has that.
Is that-
restraint.
It's not actually going to be called Fly, is it?
I don't think so. It
It's
seemed
kinda-
like just an acronym for.
It's
Yeah,
just
it
like
is.
a-
It's an acronym for
teaser.
Flying Launch Coaster.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
wait, that's not
Apparently.
that's not how it works.
Flying Launch Yoaster.
There you go. Perfect.
According to RCDV, it stands for Flying Launch Coaster.
Doesn't
but
make any
I'm,
sense.
I'm
Exactly.
actually interested to see what they do with that because all their coasters are very low to the ground.
Mhm.
They're pretty secluded and just enclosed in buildings and things like that. I think it will be interesting because all the flying coasters we've seen like are out in the open. Tatsu's on the top of like a hill.
That's not true actually, because you've got Galactica, which is of the first being a flying coaster, which was very low to the ground.
Galactica is there aren't
That
any
is
different from the other
Galacticas out
flying
there.
The
But I think what
Voyages.
we should also point out is that Fly, they've stated it's going to be the longest flying coaster in the world.
That's true.
And the longest one now is Flying Dinosaur at 3,687 feet in meters. for
I
you
could
guys
easily
to
see it
say.
being like a Terran level of twistiness and like really tangled, packed into a tight space.
And for all the
Sounds
outside
good.
Europe, that is 1,124.
Yeah.
I
So
know
that
this might
should
just
be longer than that.
I know this might just be wishful thinking, but do you think they might put a launch on there because just of the, I don't know, not tall nature of Phantasialand?
It is a
It
launch
It is
coaster.
launched.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
It's the world's first flying launch coaster.
Oh, I
and
didn't
the
know
longest
that.
flying
I thought that was just a rumor.
coaster. No, it is.
Oh, wow.
That's gonna
be-
This is why I believe it's Vekoma also, because obviously B&M are very expensive, and Phantasialand have said that every new big project they want to spend more of the budget on theming,
No, good on them.
and Black Mamba was already half and half on theming, half on coaster. So I imagine Taron was more so, and
Yeah.
Fly is going to be more so than that.
And also
With the B&M, with the cost of a B&M, and it's the longest flying coaster, it just seems ridiculous. You know,
Vacoma's made like how many flying coasters? They've made like one, haven't they? The
They made
Stingray.
4.
I've made 4 overall, 3 Flying Dutchmans and 1 Stingray.
Oh yeah, the Flying Dutchman. I forgot about those. The Stingray looks really interesting, actually.
It does.
Yeah,
I
but and also I want to speak on Harry's comment on why it wouldn't be B&M, and that's because B&M flyers are massive. Like
Mhm.
they're not compact. I mean,
No.
yes, you can say the Super Ultimate Flight, Ultimate Flight coasters are pretty compact, but this is going to be bigger than Flying Dinosaur lengthwise, and that's a huge coaster.
Even Galactica, although it's like spread out, or not, although it's low to the ground, I mean, it is fairly spread out.
So, and this area that Phantasialand's working with, I believe it's smaller than Terran's area. Is
It's
that
just a bit bigger than Terrence, I
just a
think.
bit bigger?
Yeah.
And so Terran is pretty compact as it is.
Does anyone know Terran's track length?
Probably
A
gotta
lot.
be 4,000.
In meters, it is
No, not
1,320
meters.
meters.
Yeah, 4,330 feet.
So this is shorter than Terran,
Hmm.
isn't it?
No, I just said flying dinosaur is like 1,000. What was the number?
So fly is shorter than Terran is the point I'm trying to.
Well, no, fly could be longer than Terran. I mean, it's got to be longer than 1.1 kilometers. And Terran is 1.3. So it could be 1.2, which is still a considerable amount of track.
Well, Cedar Fair is. There's people. A lot of people are excited about Cedar Fair 2018.
Yeah.
It seems like potentially we could be getting coasters, or we have like two basically confirmed, or two actually confirmed, and then two others basically confirmed as well. So what do you guys think of? I guess we'll just start. We'll start with the smaller ones and then go to the big boys. So what do you guys think about the California's Great America one, the SR1 or whatever?
Boy, here we go. Well, I was at the park last Wednesday, and I got to look at the construction. And yeah, about all the way to about half of the field area where Invertigo was fenced off all the way up to, there's a little basketball court area and the first aid station all the way there. There wasn't any construction on the west side of the path. Like Whitewater Falls and Berserker were open.
Mm-hmm.
So
Didn't you say they like cut down trees over there though?
yeah, they were getting out wood chips from there. And someone said that apparently they used that field where Invertigo used to be on some nights to like show family movies. So the construction might go all the way to the path and near the food court once the season's over and they have that opened up. But it's a pretty small plot of land, and there's a lot of possibilities.
Yeah, that leads to the question: what do you guys think the coaster is actually going to be?
I mean, from the wishful thinking for many enthusiasts right now of Blitz.
Intamin Blitz.
However, I do feel CGA is going to be the park prototype that Cedar Fair mentioned.
You're thinking RMC Raptor?
I'm not Raptor.
T-Rex then?
I'm not thinking it's RMC. It could be a Blitz. Very well, the prototype could be going to Knott's Berry Farm, which is the other park we'll get to in a moment. It could be a Mac Extreme Spinner.
Oh no!
What if it's
But
like
not-
that?
Not the layout that they gave us. It could be a custom layout because just because Mac Rides had a layout displayed doesn't mean that's the only layout. I'm sure you could go custom with that kind of coaster.
Someone did come up with a layout for a Blitz coaster, if it was one. I'll put it in here if you want to look at it. So it was,
Another thing. Yeah. Wow. That's interesting. And wait. What is SR1? Just to clarify what SR1 means. Oh wait. Tolger, what is it again, Ben?
I'm not 100% sure. I'm not a car person. I don't know much about the state of California's driving laws and things like that. I've heard a bunch of different things. It might stand for State Route 1. I really don't know.
Then of course there's that sign, the Summit Trailhead thing that says accelerate, intimidate, and dominate, and those are all names of coasters at other Cedar Fair parks. And there's been some crazy theories coming off of that, like people saying, what have people been saying about that? It's like because it basically means that people. I saw one person say that it means that they're going to build a new coaster at Carowinds as well, because Intimidate is on there, and Dominator's at King's Dominion, which has a confirmed coaster, and Accelerator is at Knott's Berry Farm, which
Dominate.
also might have a coaster.
RMC Mean Streak isn't actually going to Cedar Point. It's going to Carowinds, guys.
But one of the things I think the SR1 might be was another thing at IAPA, the new Intamin Zach Spin model,
Yeah.
with the one that looks more like an SNS free spin.
Yeah.
That could easily be a 110-foot project,
And that's also for because it'll be the first 40 coaster.
and it'll definitely fit in that spot as well.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sick of 4D free spins.
My wish for it would be for it to be a Chance Hyper GTX, but I don't know if that would actually happen.
That seems very likely right now.
If it
At
was,
least.
would that be the one they're saying it would be the relationship with the manufacturer they haven't worked with in a while?
I think so.
Since
I've
Chance
heard
is technically Morgan, and
Yeah.
they worked with Morgan to build Wild Thing, Mamba, and Steel Force.
I don't know. That could work, but if we got a Chance GTX Hyper, I think that would work perfectly with the park, because Gold Striker has airtime, but it doesn't have that moment where you go, "Whoa, that was real airtime."
The park doesn't have an airtime machine, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and the Chance GTX Hypers are small. They're compact. They're not too tall, and if you look on RCDB, let me just get it up. Yeah, the height, it says, it only states the drop height, not the actual height. And the drop height is 100 feet. And the whole permit thing said that it was going to be 110, I think, 0.6 feet. And it could easily be raised, or, I don't know, maybe Lightning Run is that height.
Lightning Run is 100 feet, I believe.
The drop is 100 feet.
Oh,
it doesn't state the actual height of the ride itself.
Well, here's my only concern with a Hyper GTX, a Chance GTX going to CJ, is because in the master plan we saw, and I understand the master plan is not solidified, what we don't know, is that there is a Beat 'em Hyper possibly in the future for CGA. And yes, you can. I see the argument that, well, Carowinds has Fury and Intimidator, and Canis Wonderland has Leviathan and Behemoth, both two similar models. I mean, like the Hyper GTX and Beat 'em Hyper will focus mainly on airtime, unless to make the Beat 'em Hyper something like Fury, where it's more focused on that high speed.
Raging Bull, even. Oh no.
Raging Bull done right. I mean, that's the only thing I could see of the Hyper GTX. I mean, I know it's not a good reason. I mean, I do think it's going to be a launch coaster, personally. It just seems that way to me, at least.
Yeah, with the car thing, yeah, that's likely.
California's Great America's collection is just so open-ended. Like, there's multiple things that could fit there and still fit into with the park's lineup.
Yeah.
But if we move south to Knott's Berry Farm, this is the one I believe we know the least about.
Yeah.
It's the one that's probably the least confirmed at this point, but earlier this year Knott's Berry Farm removed their boomerang, which leaves a plot of land for a very small coaster. And, well, this is the one where people have been saying RMC Raptor.
Still don't think so.
I really don't know if
I can't see a Raptor come into a big park. The throughput's
No.
diabolical.
if they were to do the Mac Spinner, I think it would go to Knott's because they have a much smaller plot of land.
Knott's already has a Max Spinner, though.
Oh,
This is true.
Sierra
wow.
Sidewinder.
okay, yeah, I totally forgot about that. Okay, never
But they
mind.
could have the one.
They could have the one that
Yeah. And that'd sort of
doesn't have
fit
the
the
spinning
whole
frame.
boomerang style coaster that they've just lost. Like the
Yeah,
triple
it
launch
should.
boomerang, similar thing.
And the plot of land at Knott's is a lot smaller than the one at CGA. Not to say the one at CGA is large, but it's larger than the one at Knott's.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well,
there's
the popular rumor that's going around is a Gerstler Infinity
Yeah.
coaster.
that's what I was gonna say.
I just don't see that happening, though.
I mean,
One,
I
it
don't
will
know.
fit. I feel it will fit the park if they do go.
one thing I do think that's interesting that someone
I just don't see
Pointed
Six
out a
Flags
while
or
ago.
Cedar Fair working with Gerstlauer this soon.
was that it would be a B&M dive that goes to Knott's. That would apparently the Boardwalk Barbecue right next to the Sky Cabin, which is the observation tower, I guess, at Knott's. It's right across the walkway from where the boomerang was. They could do an Oblivion type thing where the bottom of the drop goes under the path.
The problem with that, though, is that a B&M dive wouldn't be a renewed relationship, and it wouldn't be a new concept either.
Yeah, that's the one problem.
Because
Well,
they just did Valraven.
That is if CGA does not get that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the prototype and the new manufacturer relation could possibly be the same thing.
I suppose they didn't specifically say that they would be different.
And from what I understand, there's something I saw at IAPA, and I don't recall. I don't remember B&M announced. B&M didn't announce anything at IAPA, if I recall correctly.
No.
And I don't. And GCI, they didn't really announce anything.
Just the trains for Invader.
Yeah. So there was nothing. The things that stood out were like the Mac. The biggest thing that stood out was the Mac Ultra Extreme Spinner.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Now we don't know where that's. We don't know if Cedar Fair bought that. We don't know if a manufacturer showed a concept that was behind closed doors. I mean, this is all speculation. Obviously, we don't know what happened. We don't know what Cedar Fair saw or what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
From what we've seen, it seems like the most likely option when they refer to IAPA is the Extreme Spinner.
Yeah.
Yes.
Either they could fit perfectly at either.
It's obviously
Knott's
going to be
or-
that SNS winged super loop.
Oh my gosh, that looks awful.
Actually, well, we can talk about that later.
I'm not a fan of super loops.
But I mean, it's a wild card park. I feel like the coaster is such a wild card.
Yeah,
It could be so many things.
Yeah.
but let's move on to the good stuff, the RMCs.
Oh wow. Okay.
Well, first of all, obviously, there's RMC Hurler, which is a. So far, the teasers we've gotten from King's Dominion, it's not explicitly for RMC Hurler that we know of. It probably is, but there's also been some conflict about that, whether it's actually for like a scare event or another attraction. Because, well, some of the teasers they've put out have said stuff like Candy Apple Grove and Snoopy on them. I don't know if that's just like them trolling. It doesn't seem like they would troll. Maybe, I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts on the potential RMC Hurler teasers?
Well, we do know. I think it's safe to say we got some things from it. So when we got like the 3 is better than none, I believe that's what it was. I apologize for not knowing these teams.
Yeah.
I think we could see potential 3 inversions
Yes.
on it. So I feel good in that. And the RP was like the 24. I don't remember.
20 better than 4.
Yeah, and then the height was like, now the height, if I recall correctly, was like 111 feet maybe. And that's supported because the lift hill was recently topped off, structure-wise.
Mm-hmm.
The track is slow. From what I last saw, the track is placed on the lift hill,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like more at the base, similar to what we saw earlier with another RC somewhere. But what the last teaser was, the force struck the
Rattles.
windows, I believe.
Yeah, the force rattles down the windows.
I don't know what that could be.
The 28 makes it better. I'm sure that's going to be high, like 28 feet taller.
And
Yeah.
then there's 20 better than 4. I was thinking because there's I think there's 4 turns on Hurler right now. So I was thinking like maybe now they're gonna 20 turns or 4 crossover, 20
Yeah.
crossovers, something like
There
that.
are 4 turns, not including the pre-lift turn.
Hurler is one of the RMCs where I could see them majorly reworking the old layout because the old layout is just not very good.
It's
So
an yeah.
Well,
we
from-
could easily see like something big drastic changes in the way the
Mhm.
coaster goes.
Yeah.
Well, from what I've noticed at least, and I could be wrong, is that it seemed like the lift hill is obviously taller,
Hmm.
and it looks like there's a site of an overbank where that first bank turn used to be. It could be an overbank, we don't know. It looks like an overbank is starting to be formed. And then I can't be certain with this, but it looks like the two airtime hills, I believe it's two, after that first turn on Hurler, seem to have added structure on them as well to increase their height.
Yeah, one of the interesting things about RMC Hurler, I think, is that there are so many like just large, low to the ground banking turns that are not very exciting, and I don't think RMC would just do that. I don't think they'd keep something that's just. I haven't been on any of the Hurlers personally, but they don't look. Those turns don't look too good. I think RMC could do some really cool, maybe like something like the first element on Outlaw Run, something like that. I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities.
Make it maybe like a break-in wave turn.
Mm.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That could really do well. It would be the first one we saw on an iBox track as well.
Is it?
What?
I don't know. I don't know what that. I don't know what the. Con rooster turn, anyone? That's an old meme. I'm sorry.
But I'm more hopeful for RMC Hurler because Alan Shoki, who I presume is designing RMC Hurler, he has said before he likes working with coasters because he could do more with. For example, you have Wicked Cyclone in comparison to Goliath at Great America, Six Flags Great America.
Hmm.
Goliath is massive. It's one of the largest wooden coasters, height-wise, in the world. However, if you look at the layout, there's only like 6 elements, roughly.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's not very long.
Yeah, but he said the reason for that is because with all of that energy you have to be able to draw the elements out long enough so it's safe and comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Wicked Cyclone, it's about 100 feet tall, reaches a top speed of almost like 50 miles per hour. I could check right now. So 88.5 kilometers per hour for you guys outside. It's 55 miles per hour, and that thing it's packed with elements. I mean, there's like you have the overbank turn, which is probably the largest element on the coaster. It is the largest element on the coaster besides the drop.
Wicked Cyclone is relatively low to the ground.
Yeah, but it has a lot of these little airtime hills. It has it's sprinkled throughout the layout. The first airtime hill is smaller than the airtime hill later in the layout.
I definitely think of all the RMCs, we're probably get RMC Hurler is going to be most closely comparable to Wicked Cyclone
or Storm Chaser. I feel like more Storm Chaser.
Well, RMC Hurler, people were throwing around the idea of a drop like Storm Chasers, where it has the inversion. I think that's a really
because Hurler does turn at the top.
The turn.
Yeah, it does, and I think that's a really good opportunity to put another inversion in there and make it a unique RMC.
Well, on the East Coast, there's nothing like that on the East Coast.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's like one. How many RMCs on the East Coast?
3.
Well, what
if you count like
what you define as East Coast?
As in like close to the coast. Like I wouldn't say Lightning Rod is.
So Wicked Cyclone Hurler, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm excited because it's my closest RMC.
Yep.
So, not by much, but.
But the second, the final Cedar Fair project, and probably the most definitely the most exciting, is of course RMC Mean Streak. It's got the entire enthusiast community up in a storm, and the most recent development least and the most interesting one for me is the posters they've been putting up in the park.
Oh yeah, those wanted posters.
The wanted posters. I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts on what those could possibly mean.
I think they just have to do with the theming. That's really it. I think.
Theming.
What?
At Cedar Point. Are you having a laugh? You're talking about the park that butchered Maverick's theming. Had such a good theme. Well, the initial designs had such a great theme.
Yeah, they did.
And
right after the
it just
airtime,
didn't
they had
happen.
a tunnel.
Well, that's actually my theory because Maverick has named trains, right? The trains are named. I was thinking that those 3 outlaws are the trains or the 3 trains.
Could be.
Yeah, one of the other interesting things that I heard was they're going to have the new RMC trains. We haven't seen those yet.
Mm.
The RMC did when RMC announced they had the 7. They did mention that there's a new rolling stock, which is new trains. They're working on a new trains development.
Yeah, and they said the 2018 RMCs are going to have those.
Yes,
So.
and that's as exciting as it is. That's also a little concerning from what we saw. What happened in 2016, and maybe still now, depending on what the issue with lightning rod is. Because trains, as we remember for 2016, we had the part recall.
Yes.
Affected wildfire and lightning rod. And, I mean, I'm optimistic to see the new trains will fix issues. I mean, some issues people said were bars were too heavy, the ankle restraints were a complaint by some. Personally, I don't have an issue with them.
Yeah, what is the point of the ankle restraints?
I don't know.
I can't tell you.
Wait, for what?
Legs don't fall about.
For
Ask
RMC
Shilky.
coasters, then.
They had ankle restraints?
Well, so
Yeah,
do the
but
Ghost
Sam-
Star slap bars.
Not all of them.
God.
Hydrus does.
Oh,
Yes,
I can't
Hydrus, though.
remember that.
So, I mean,
Sam, did your legs flail about on Terran?
No.
There you go then. Why do you need them?
I don't have a good answer for that. But
I feel the issue they did is because every RMC iBox besides New Texas Giant inverts. Now, the one oddity is Iron Rattler, which just has a T-bar and a seatbelt. So it doesn't seem like the most necessary thing. And they may, and for all we know, RMC could be going with a T-bar style. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people have said they prefer the Ghost Star trains over the RMC.
I don't personally have an issue with the RMC restraints. I know a lot of people do get bothered by them.
I like the U bars more than T bars. I haven't been on any other Ghost trains on any RMCs, but just from the ones from GCI, they're fine, but I like the RMC ones more.
But in terms of the posters, there's those reward, the $875, $1,000. People have been saying that's something to do with the announcement date, because 8 is obviously August. But that doesn't explain the 1,000, and it doesn't explain why one of the posters has 1,000 while the other 2 have 875. I don't know. Personally, I just think it's like a design choice. Like they just put that there and it doesn't mean anything. But
because Maverick has a wanted poster, it's not the same style, but it's like it says Maverick has that poster thing. Like if I recall, I'm going back to 2014 for this, but Maverick has a poster like wanted riders to ride Maverick or something like that. So it could just be like that. Try and keep that coherent, quote unquote theme, I guess,
for Frontier Town.
But
I think if they poured more money into it, they'd have a great area there.
But the 3 people will explain that they are coming, which we've seen from the past teasers.
I definitely think, regardless of whether 875 actually means it, we are going to be seeing all 4 Cedar Fair projects get announced in the next month of August, at the time of this recording.
And from recent reports, from what I've heard...
they're going to announce on National Roller Coaster Day.
That's what I've been understanding.
Yeah,
What day is that?
August 16th, I believe. Is it 16th?
Yeah, that's what the date is, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, one thing I think would be interesting, that they are coming, is that exclusively for Cedar Point or for other parks as well?
I think it's just for Cedar Point.
Okay,
Is-
okay, good, because if it's just for Cedar Point, they could have a theme that it's like, I don't know, a band of outlaws or something like that.
Yeah, the three outlaws. Yeah.
Well, what Sam said earlier is that Maverick has the name Trains, since Mean Streak has kept its mid-course break run seemingly,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's safe to assume that Mean Streak will be running with 3 trains.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
In an
3
ideal
posters, 3 posters, 3 trains. We could be seeing the name Trains come back.
Also, in terms of like
And-
a name for the coaster, was that other after that they are coming? The other thing that was said in like one of the little videos was they're rolling in like thunder or something like that. Do you guys remember that? Where it's
Yeah,
like, they're
yeah.
rolling in like thunder.
and what
I
are the
really hope the coaster isn't called Rolling Thunder.
Well, that's a Six Flags trademark.
no
Don't
no
you mean Oa?
what are the
Rolling
trademarks
Thunder.
what are the 4 trademarks they filed?
We know of Railblazer and
The
also
Ledge.
the Ledge and Hang Time, which they don't really seem like roller coaster names to me. They seem more like flat ride names.
Yeah.
People have been saying, "Oh, the Ledge is a dive coaster." Oh.
Well, that does seem like a possibility, but
Yeah, I can see the Ledge being a dive coaster or
The
a
Ledge
First
could
Flower
be an
Candy.
infinity coaster, yeah.
But and then Railblazer, that was what we initially
Railblazer
thought would
sounds
be
like
for
a
Mean
raptor.
Streak.
Railblazer sounds like a raptor to me because it's a single rail.
But
I don't know.
the thing with Railblazer is that I think the enthusiast community thought that was going to be RMC Mean Streak's name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because,
However,
yeah.
CGA has been throwing a bit of a curveball with their whole trail
Yeah,
theming going around.
yeah.
Trailblazer.
Oh,
But
boy.
how many? It's like something like 8 projects for RMC next year.
7.
That is
Oh, 7.
great.
They said there's one going to Japan or something, I believe. And
Yes.
then probably a couple of free spins, I'd imagine.
Mhm.
And then of course the iBox conversions, 3 of which
Yeah.
we know, possibly 3. 2
Yeah,
confirmed.
there's 2 confirmed, and then there's the possible
Oh.
Georgia Cyclone.
Oh boy, I can't wait to talk about that. Can we talk about that now?
Well,
Sure,
let's finish Mean
Uh,
Streak. We still have to talk about layout.
Okay.
Oh, we have a late. Okay, yeah.
Oh yeah.
That most recent inversion they added, like the weird stall thing, that thing looks.
Wait,
does not
what?
look
What
natural.
stall thing?
So
wait, where's
if you
the
look
picture?
at so you know how RMC Mean Streak from the leaks, they have the turnaround that went over the lift. It seems like they put it below the lift now.
Mm-hmm.
They have a double up into what seems like a inclined barrel roll, goes into a 90. I guess that looks like 90-degree bank turn to the right, and then it goes into this funky stall
Right
Mhm.
under the lift hill, right?
right on the to a double down.
Yes.
From what it appears. And that goes into I think a double up into the mid course. I'm not too sure about that.
It's this weird, like slightly banked double up. It's
The layout looks really good though.
yeah, it does look very good. I was hoping for they would do something unique with the mid course brake run, but it doesn't look like that now.
The great thing about Mean Streak is that there's just so much structure that they can work with.
Yeah.
And
I mean, what it looks like to me, it looks like a larger version of Wicked Cyclone.
I think it looks more like New Texas Giant with inversions.
Oh, it looks
Yeah.
like New Texas Giant, but like the way it seems to be flowing. I know
Yeah.
what am I saying? No, it does look like mine. I just realized. Okay,
But then
wrong
of
RMC
course,
indicative maybe.
The height is what really gets me.
200 feet.
Just when you look at it in photos, like I can only imagine being there, but it looks massive.
It really
Oh
does.
my
Like,
gosh.
It's-
big wooden coasters look even bigger than like hyper coasters because of the
Structure.
amount of structure. Yeah.
But like you see the first inversion going into that turnaround underneath the lift, and that thing is massive. There's so much structure supporting that, and that
Mhm.
kind of peeves me because I'm like, well, that's a lot of structure for one. But at the same time, it's like that is
My thing is, well, I think the ride will be fun. I'm not expecting it to be as intense just because of how spread out it is.
It's
Like-
going to be packed with like sustained airtime moments.
I think it'll be more floater as compared to like lightning rod rides like lightning rod, which have a lot of ejector. Apparently,
Yeah.
no one here has actually ridden lightning rod. But
Yeah, so I do not think. I personally do not think RMC Mean Streak will be the best RMC, as many are stating.
Mm,
It looks impressive. I'm not denying that. And
Mhm.
the lift hill, I mean, speculating, it looks like 200 feet tall. That'll make it the tallest hybrid
it's
coaster.
perfect for Cedar Point.
If it's 200 feet tall, we realized this I think a few months ago, when they started first putting track on the lift hill. If it's 200 feet tall, it has a good chance of being taller than Magnum, which
Yeah.
is really crazy.
The thing is, like, even if it's not 200 feet, it's going to be close, and I really don't see them pulling like an Alpengeist and making it like 195.
But the other thing is the drop, which has raised a lot of eyebrows that I've seen. Because
For
it
people
looks
saying-
90 degrees.
That's another thing that posters could mean. 875, that could be 87.5 degrees.
And that would make a bit more sense. I'm
Yes.
pretty sure I'll make it the steepest RMC.
Mm-hmm.
If that is
RMCs
true.
have really steep drops in general, but I think that'll be the steepest.
Because I don't think it's going to go vertical.
Nah.
I'd be really surprised if they could pull it vertical.
But if it is 87.5, they can class it as vertical. Because G5 Oblivion is 87.
Mm.
Well, I feel they did it for Oblivion and G5. It's different because Dark Coaster is advertised as a vertical drop.
Well, and the fact that both are very old and both were
But the
built
Mini-
before a technology that allowed you to not have a huge bang because obviously it's 87.5, so that the wheels don't come away
Freefall.
from the rails. Yeah,
Yes.
that's why. But then on the newer ones, obviously they've got technology that allows that to happen without
Yes.
a huge clank at the bottom. So
Mm-hmm.
On the mini dive models, it's still 87.5.
this is true.
One thing I think that's probably going to happen is I had high hopes for RMC Mean Streak when we didn't know much about it, and there was only basically the large first airtime hill. I thought they were going to do something really neat with the brake run. I don't know, maybe a Mobius loop, something like that. But now that it's becoming clearer and clearer the layout, I think I'm not saying it looks mediocre or anything like that. It still looks fantastic, but I think the enthusiast community has hyped themselves up so much for this, it's going to disappoint, like the Shed.
Yeah.
You think it could be almost like the Millennium Force, or like the next Millennium Force at Cedar Point.
It's
And what I mean by-
definitely a great thing for Cedar Point to add. It's a perfect addition to the park.
And what I should clarify about
Definitely.
the famous of Millennium Force, not that it's going to be I'm not saying it's a bad ride, but it's going to have so much hype around it, so much expectation,
Yes.
it's going to fall short.
People are inexplicably going to be disappointed.
Yeah, it's
No, but we've been going on for about an hour now, so I think we'll talk about Georgia Cyclone briefly.
Mhm.
And then move
Basically, for the uninitiated, Georgia Cyclone was announced to be closing. Georgia Cyclone is Six Flags Over Georgia. It was announced to be closing on July 30th, and almost everyone's just like, "Oh yes, RMC, RMC." Although it's not confirmed, there have been markers seen at the bottom of the structure of the ride. And what do you guys think about that?
I
now what I
think.
said.
Oh, never mind. You can go on.
Now what I said earlier, I think this will be similar to Wicked Cyclone.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
As now they don't have the same layout. I mean, yes, they have that Cyclone-esque layout. I mean, we look at the New England Cyclone and Georgia Cyclone. There are two different layouts.
It's just a bit of a it's just the generic triple out and back design. The coaster crosses and then it crosses back again. It repeats, and then goes back to the station.
Yeah, and I mean, if it does happen, I mean, I think it'll easily be the top coaster over Georgia. I mean, what do you say,
Oh,
Sam?
yeah.
Would you agree with
Yeah,
that?
they have
well, I suppose it depends. I've only been on 2 RMCs. I don't really have like
Only. It's two more than me.
yeah. Well, compared to some of these Americans who've been on every single one,
Well, yeah. Two is pretty low.
it's like a lot of people say RMC is like overrated and all that. I don't really. I haven't ridden enough to really judge that. So it really just depends. I could see it being better than Goliath. I could also see it being worse, unless Goliath isn't even the best right now.
I think a lot of people are gonna say it's worse than Goliath just because of the hype.
But there's not really a hype surrounding Georgia Cyclone just yet. You look at Wicked Cyclone, and I feel when the two coasters were being built, Twisted Colossus got more, because 2015 that was Twisted Colossus and Wicked Cyclone.
Yes.
I feel Twisted Colossus got more attention.
And then in 2016, it was all lightning rods.
Yeah, it really was.
I thought Wildfire was a bit understated.
But
But
I think it's going to be a good coaster.
I think Twisted Colossus, it just like immediately gets your attention more than Wicked Cyclone just because of the dueling aspect of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I still think Georgia Cyclone's going to be.
It's going to be better than RMC Hurler, probably, maybe. They'll be about equal, I guess. I don't know. Considering we know nothing about their layouts just yet.
Or Georgia Cyclone is going to be a RMC for that matter. It sounds like it is.
I think the other wooden coasters that were converted to RMCs were announced they're closing at about the same time. So it feels like this is just business as usual, another Six Flags RMC.
Oh, and also, you have to point out, they said it's closing for good.
Yeah.
It's not like a GCI retracking like what happened to Ghost Rider.
And it's like when Six Flags has never done a GCI retracking. And it's like, well, the reason I think people are a little bit shakier on whether this is actually an RMC is because we didn't get any last year. And then, of course, there's the whole John Duffy, Jim Reed Anderson shake-up thing, which is kind of strange. I don't really have anything to say about that, but I think that in general, because there was no Six Flags RMC this year, that's why people are a little bit less convinced. I think if this was if they had announced Georgia Cyclone was closing in 2015, back when we had Twisted Colossus, Wicked Cyclone just as new, it would have been like, oh yeah, it's 100% RMC, but I am glad. I'm glad I'm getting a coaster at my home.
Yeah, your home park. It's only 5 hours away.
It's like 6, 5.5, something like that.
That's crazy.
All right, so I think we should probably slide over into the trip report section.
The trip report.
So, Forest Coaster, FF Forest Coaster, Forest Coaster, whatever.
Forest Coaster.
Wait, what is this?
The Alpine Coaster at Zip World.
The UK's first Alpine
First
coaster.
and only. But if you don't know about the accelerating thing, slowing into the corners and then releasing, it feels really heavily trimmed.
Wait, was this the one Sean and Alex wrote?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Because if you go down completely, no hands, no brakes, nothing, it feels really trimmed. Like when you go around the corner. But if you push the brakes down slowly and then release them just before you go into the corner, you get a slight acceleration and just sort of you don't feel it.
It's true.
I've never been on an Alpine coaster, so.
Me neither. Yeah.
It has one moment of really good airtime.
They always look like those marble sets you get as a kid.
Yeah.
But the marbles, when they roll down, you can make loops if you're really good at it.
It's had a nice new smell and feel.
Yeah, and I found that the lift hills weren't actually that long.
They were quite fast
compared to. Yeah, they were quite fast, which I was happy about.
That cable we could see on SWA, similar thing.
It really could be actually.
Yeah, it looks like
SW8, an Alpine coaster.
It looks like one of the better Alpine coasters. There's a bunch in the U.S. that are just
goats on the roof
in the middle of some podunk town in the middle of Kentucky or something like that.
It's not just that's there. It has a load of other things that are there.
It looks like
a complex.
An old man with a shotgun runs in and is like, "Hey, here's 5 cents to ride this roller coaster I built with some wrenches."
But in America,
Sequoia Adventure.
In the 2 I've been on in America, the one was in New Jersey. That was at Extra Park. That was just Alpine coaster. That was in a water park, so more of an established area. And then I did the Smoky Mountain Alpine coaster down Pigeon Forge, which Pigeon Forge is where Dollywood
like
is, and all
Yeah,
of
there's
that.
like-
Alpine coasters there or something.
Yeah.
5 now.
Yeah,
They're
crazy
building-
amount.
There was a new one this year, wasn't there? They have 5.
Yeah,
now.
there was some bear grizzly coaster. I don't know what it's called. Some of a bear.
How much was the Alpine coaster that you went on?
For me, it was
$40.
$15.
For one ride?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're Pigeon Forge in general is
It's a tourist trap. That whole
Crazy.
town.
So,
mean-
yeah.
At least you're not paying $11 to get brutalized like the Manhattan coaster.
Manhattan Express.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as everyone says it is, but it is bad. It's really bad.
The last Togo
I
in the
know
United
someone-
States.
I know someone who really actually liked that when they went on it.
I don't like it, but I don't hate it.
Togo Hyper better than Silver Star.
Gosh.
Controversial.
Yeah, so in early July, I visited Gardaland for the first time. And the park itself is really fantastic. I didn't expect it to be so compact. Everything is relatively quite close together. It's all crammed in, and it's all really well themed. What got me is how well the different themed areas merge together. It's crazy because you're like walking between the areas, and then you kind of go from a like western area to Oblivion's area, but it's so well put together that you don't really notice. It's 2 different themes, like space and western,
Don't
but it works.
Don't the Western theming items get like sucked into the black hole? or
Yeah,
something?
they do.
Yeah.
It works really well, and that's throughout the park. The queues were decent because Gardaland has some very good staff who opt everything, so the operations are quite good. And they use this system where they actually count specifically how many people can go onto the ride. So everyone queues up to this like barrier, this turnstile,
Like Hex.
and then there's an electronic display above, and it'll say stop or the
They had
Italian
that on-
equivalent of stop.
They had that on Blue Fire, I think.
Did they?
The stopping light.
I
Don't
No,
think
they
so.
didn't.
For the
They had
front
a-
lot, for the front the queue for the front.
Oh,
Let's
okay,
see
the
if
front.
that's it.
I
queue for
didn't
the
I
front.
didn't do that.
I
Yeah,
got
me
I
neither.
got the front later on in the day when they weren't in the queue anymore. Yeah, so there'll be an electronic board at the top, and it'll say stop, and then once the train is dispatched, it will come up. So for Raptor, it said that there was 2 lines that both said 14, and then 14 people would go through, and then it would say stop again, and it was the same for every single ride.
Raptor is 7 row.
Yes.
7 rows. Oh, okay.
Yeah, 28. So yeah, they were getting, a lot of people, usually the max amount of people on every time. Operations were great, so we never really queued more than 25 minutes for anything.
That's really good. Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
it was.
A quick question. So with that system, can you choose what row you want to ride in? Still? Or is
Yes, but obviously
free
if you're at
for
the
all?
front, you get to choose, and if you're at the back, you get given.
that okay?
So luckily we got to choose quite a few times, like on Raptor, we got back row and front row either side, which was very good.
Do you
How
know-
was your second SLC?
We only rode the SLC back at the back row.
Oh my gosh.
That was a mistake because
Oh.
it was bad.
I find row 2
Yeah.
worse.
It's
But bonus
SLCs
helix.
are not good.
The first drop is fine, right? And the bonus helix is fine. Everything else is headbanging. I mean, I don't find rides that rough, but this one was something else. It was bad. I have to admit.
So which one would you prefer, that one or Infusion?
Oh, I haven't rode Infusion in a while. I'd have to let you know when I get back on it and ride that back row.
The only bad thing is on Infusion's layout is the 2 last inversions. The rest of it's actually pretty alright,
No, fair enough.
but that's not. It's coming from me, so
It's true.
take it with
So,
a handful of salt.
A fistful of salt. Yeah. So what surprised me at Gardaland wasn't their latest edition, Oblivion Black Hole, but it was Raptor. For me, Raptor was a really top-class coaster, obviously being the world's first B&M wing coaster.
The near miss elements on that look crazy.
Yeah, there's just so many of them. Everything you interact with is a near-miss element.
It's
It is
like-
fantastic.
aside from like without not having the wing over drop, it utilizes basically everything that you can do with a wing coaster, like all the unique things you can do with that concept.
Yeah, it's for a wing coaster. It's surprisingly compact. I think it's really twisty, really forceful, really quick, really quick. Has lots of near miss elements, and I found that both sides, the left and the right, were both forceful and had loads of elements, which you can't say for every wing coaster because usually they offer kind of very different experiences. But this one was very similar, left and right side, which was good, obviously.
You know the iCorsairy Dark Ride, or whatever it's called, that boat one? Is it really underground?
Yep.
Like, do you really, like, how far... Do you feel like you're going underground, or...?
Yeah, you had to walk underground. There's 2 escalators to get back up.
Oh.
Yeah, it's deep underground. It was an alright ride. It's basically a Pirates of the Caribbean rip-off without any drops, which I was
Europa Park.
I was waiting for a drop, right, in this ride. No drop. That was a waste of time. I'm not a big, huge fan of those kind of things. Like, the ride itself also has to be exciting, you know. You can't just put loads of theming in it sometimes. That's how I feel, especially on a slow boat ride like that.
Yeah, there has to be some mix.
Something to look forward to. But yeah, Garland, very solid park all round. The Raptor and Oblivion, Black Hole are by far the best 2 attractions there. I definitely feel both from Merlin, both Merlin editions, both very well done theming wise. And yeah, I'd love to ride both a lot more.
How was Magic Mountain?
What, Shaman?
Is that what yeah, whatever it's called now.
Yeah, so Magic Mountain, now Shaman, is running with VR. And the VR is this Red Indian kind of spiritual crap.
Sounds about right.
Unfortunately, the VR was running at about 4 or 5 frames per second, which was a bit annoying because if it wasn't, I think the VR would be quite good. The concept and what was going on was actually quite interesting, but the frame rate was annoying, and they made everyone wear these hairnets before they got on.
What did that look like?
Oh man, I don't know. There's not a video of it, I'm afraid. It's these red hairnets, bright red. Everyone has to look. Operations were diabolical.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah. Operations are diabolical on it, as you can imagine.
What's the other coaster? Oh, the mine train, Mammoth. How do you
Mammoth, for being less than a decade old, is surprisingly rough and shaky. Obviously, it's a lap bar, so it doesn't really matter, but it does throw you about a hell of a lot.
Yeah,
the theming's pretty good though. So.
And you said the Screaming Squirrel was down.
Yeah, that's been down for a month or so now. I wouldn't mind if it went anyway, because you just look at it, man. It looks stupid.
Yeah, but if it had been open, you would have gone.
It looks like
of course.
Credits.
Like
I would have wrote it once.
Cred. There's some people who say those aren't credits. I think.
How is it not a credit?
Yeah, that's because it does have lateral movement. There's a turn at the end or the beginning or something. Yeah,
in both.
It has more than a free spin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyone who is able to get to Guardland, I really recommend you do, because I feel like Guardland as a whole package is probably the best Merlin park at the moment. Merlin theme park, that is. I feel like Alton Towers has the best coaster lineup of any Merlin park, but overall Guardland, with the theming and the layout of the park and just what's there, it's very well put together. I definitely recommend it.
So, Andrew, you want to go next?
I probably should. So, back in May, end of May, Memorial Day weekend, us Americans, I took a quick trip down south. Like quick, I mean like.
Oh boy, you're in my country now.
And I visited Dollywood, Carowinds, and Busch Gardens, Williamsburg.
It was Dollywood.
Yeah, Andrew, what do you think of Dollywood?
So overall, I loved the park. I'd say easily one of my favorite parks I've been to.
But
we'll get to that. So coaster wise, I'll go from off my top of my head, worst to best. I mean, there's not a bad coaster at Dollywood. I feel, or a bad ride for that matter. I didn't really get for ride saying that was awful.
Oh, you never went on that flying theater thing they used to have.
It did not.
Do
mainly
they still
focused
have
on-
that? The flying theater?
I don't
It was
recall.
so bad.
That's where I went to Tennessee Tornado, which is the aerodynamics looper, famous for being one of the last aerodynamics looper.
I think it is the last.
It is the last, and it was designed by Alan Schilke, who, as most of us know, designs the RMCs as we know today. And I liked it. I mean, I don't think it's the best coaster in the park that I've ridden, but
No.
so, but it was very intense. I do like how the drop is literally in the mountain,
Mm-hmm.
and that first loop is from riding. At that point, I've ridden three other arrows, corkscrew. I'm sorry, three other arrow loopers, corkscrew, vortex, and anaconda, and it was definitely a different change. It felt very different from those coasters. You could tell that it was designed differently. And
It feels like its own thing. Like there's not much else like it.
It feels like, for lack of a better comparison, like a very old B&M.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's newer than some B&Ms.
Well, what I mean by being older B&M, it's like it's not the smoothest coaster ever.
Mm-hmm.
It's very smooth especially for an aerodynamics coaster, but it's not like glossy smooth as you'll see with other B&Ms.
I imagine it feels a bit like Wildfire at Silver Dollar City.
Yeah, I mean, those are. I feel that the forces. Here we go again. Forces do line up, like because Tennessee Tornado is very intense.
You might want to speed up a bit.
Okay.
Just saying.
Okay, so moving on, I got to my 100th coaster that I've ridden is Wild Eagle, and I get garbage crisp, but it is. I like it a lot. I think it's the second best coaster I've ridden at the. I like it better than Tennessee Tornado. I'll say that right now.
Really? That's
unpopular.
That's radical, man.
I mean, I grayed out a bit on the coaster every ride.
Wild Eagle, you grayed out on Wild Eagle.
Sorry, Wild Eagle, the worst wing coaster in existence. The one that they basically didn't include any good features about a wing coaster.
The worst wing coaster is the Swarm.
Sorry. I'm just going to leave.
Okay, so I think we should just get off before I tear this podcast apart. Then I rode Fighters Express, which is a Gerstlauer launched family coaster, I guess.
Yeah.
That was a very good ride. That was a coaster to the story on ride very good.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like Blazing Fury is a bit redundant now, since they have Fire Chaser Express and they have some.
Yeah, they are like the same theme. Jeez. So that was a good family coaster. I liked that a lot. Then I did Mystery Mine, which is my first Eurofighter by Gerstlauer.
The worst one.
My first ride was
the worst one saw.
my first ride kind of beat me up a little bit. I got headbanging.
I can't wait for Ben to talk about Thorpe Park.
Oh boy. I got some headbanging on the first ride, but my two subsequent rides, I was feeling pretty. It got better as I rode it a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a good ride. Then I did Thunderhead, which is a fantastic GCI. I mean, ejector airtime everywhere, at least in my experience.
Mm.
And
was it like slightly rough for you? Because it was like veering into uncomfortable territory for me.
I mean, it wasn't the smoothest coaster, but it wasn't bad.
Mm.
It was like an acceptable wooden coaster roughness.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have an issue with it.
But Andrew, you're forgetting one major coaster.
Oh yes. So I forgot to mention in 2016, Dolly put up the best looking lawn ornament I've ever seen. It's perfect. I mean, it's massive. It's a beautiful piece of wooden structure, and I looked at it for about a total of 3 minutes. So,
I was hoping you'd make like a whistle punk chaser meme or something, but It didn't happen.
I didn't even ride Whistle Pup Chaser.
Uh,
I'm not into that life.
Guys, if in case you're not getting it, he didn't get on Lightning Round.
Yeah, I went
Good
right
brony.
after it started having its issues at the beginning, because the beginning of the year it was fine, so that's when I planned the trip.
Your boy
Like a
Taylor.
week before the trip, it just kind of died.
And then it was back up again like a few weeks later.
Like a month later. No,
Sorry.
2 months.
I
later.
think
Colossus.
I think
It's down. I think it's down again. I have no
Well,
idea.
So
At the time this upload, it probably is down. Let's be honest. So that's
Just
it for Dollywood. I mean, I did do Dropline. I did Barnstormer as the flat rides. I did not do Mountain Sidewinder, unfortunately.
you want to just quickly touch on Carowinds and Busch Gardens?
Yeah. So Carowinds, didn't really expect much from it besides Fury. Got more. I mean, the worst coaster, the only bad coaster on the trip was that was Flying Aerial Chase. That was awful. But the rest of the coasters, I mean, I found them all to be fun. I mean, Afterburn is my favorite invert now. That thing is ridiculously
Very good.
Fury is. I mean, I don't rank coasters, but Fury is debatably my number one coaster. And then another Intimidator is my favorite beat 'em hyper.
Angry.
So, yeah, I'm not
That's
going to
crazy.
delve too much into that. But as the park as a whole, I mean, it had a nice feel to it. I mean, I don't think it was as good as like King's Dominion, but it was definitely more than what I expected. It was not that generic park I was coming into feeling.
Mhm.
Oh, and then there was Nighthawk, which was surprisingly decent.
Yeah, I actually like Nighthawk.
Yeah, I like it. It's better than Firehawk at Kings Island, guys.
It's better than Superman Ultimate Flight. At least. Well,
I mean, I don't know. I don't rank. Then Busch Gardens. So this park only had like 5 hours at because they had an asinine hours the day I went.
What were the hours?
Well, it was like 10 to 6,
That's some Alton Tower stuff right there.
but
That's
I didn't
longer.
get to like noon because of traffic.
Come
I
on.
had 6 hours in the park, and then it stormed for an hour near the end of the day.
Yeah.
So
Did you get all the
everything-
credits at least?
I barely got all the credits. I first unlocked this monster, solid arrow looper, really liked it. I mean, I think it's just below Tennessee Tornado for me. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't really care about ranking them. Alpengeist was a huge surprise for me.
I'm telling you guys, it's the best invert.
I mean, I don't think it's the best invert, but it's up there.
Montu.
Because I was expected to be that I've been on. I have not been on Monty, but like I'd say it's just below Afterburn and Banshee.
I think
In
it's
my
just
opinion.
above Afterburn personally, but you know.
I mean,
Yeah.
everyone's their own preference,
Yeah.
and that was surprisingly the coaster I rode the most during the day. Then I did Invader, the new for 2017 GCI. It was fun. I mean, it doesn't really have the airtime that people say it has sometimes. It didn't really, but it was a good family coaster. I definitely liked it, and I hope to see more of these like family wooden coasters come around, like as we see with Warrior or White Lightning. They work very well. And then
Woodstock Express.
modern wooden family coasters, I should say. And then after that, I did Revolton, and it was fine. I mean, I knew about the drop tracks, so that didn't really take me by surprise. And I got the Storm theme all 3 rides, which was disappointing.
Wow.
So, but it was surprisingly tense inside the show building, and the drop from the bridge by the Rhine River was very good.
The Big Bad Wolf drop.
Yeah. I wish I got that ride. No.
Press F to pay respects.
And after that, I went to Tempesto. Actually,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
no, I
Oh,
did
yes.
not go. I did
The
not go to
best.
Tempesto. I went to Apollo's Chariot next. That was Apollo's Chariot is a good hyper,
It's better
Like,
than Intimidator. Fight me.
but I feel I didn't get like to really appreciate because I rode Fury the day before.
It's not as good as the big one, obviously. But still.
Obviously.
So, but I will say like Apollo's Chariot had like some really nice ejector airtime moments that I did not expect on it.
Yeah, it has some a bit more aggressive airtime towards the end than you
Especially in the
expect.
back row.
Hmm.
And then after that, I did Tempesto.
What did you think of Tempesto?
I did not like it. Now, it's not because of the layout. I like the layout, and I think Premier Rides had a good ride. It's the comfort colors.
It's all in the comfort colors.
Because the thing is, like, they don't lie on your shoulder like, say, an Intamin restraint.
It
Like,
feels
Intamin
like you're in 50 Shades of Coaster.
I don't see the
Wow.
point in them because they're not going to hold you in at all.
They're literally pointless.
Busch Cars has said that they do absolutely nothing. There's just for rider comfort
Yes.
because it's the illusion of being safe. But, like, there was a report when the ride opened, someone's comfort cart fell off. And the park said they were in no danger at all because it does absolutely nothing.
That's
And
really funny.
it just like it's not painful. It's just very awkward.
In the way.
Because Skyrocket 2s have that very jerky transitions. If that makes not jerky, but they're very snappy.
Mhm.
Like they launch up into
They
top
have
of the ride.
they have tight, steep turns. That's why.
Yeah, and you just kind of hit them, and they're not the softest straps
Yeah.
ever designed. So that kind of, I think it's my least favorite coaster at the park that I've ever ridden.
So is wait, I think you.
I did not ride Grover's Alpine
Oh, rip.
Express. Then I rode Griffin. Now this coaster, I almost missed the credit completely because of a storm, and the thing just kept on breaking down throughout the day.
Griffin broke down. That's interesting.
Oh, it broke down like 3 times, and the storm came in.
Hmm.
When I was next to the line, so thanks, weather. But I mean, Griffin was, as for my first dive coaster, I liked it. I mean, I think it's a solid 3rd place in the park. I mean, I don't think it's as good as Alpengeist and Apollo,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, it was good.
All right.
So now your turn, I guess.
Well, no, I'll let Ben go.
Okay, oh boy. But I went to Thorpe, and oh god,
I'm really angry.
I went to Thorpe. It's not good. It's really not good.
That's not true.
It's on Discovery Kingdom level.
Did you like any of the coasters?
Stealth? Stealth is good. I liked Stealth,
Oh,
even though it's actually just like a smaller version of King Ka. It's King Ka. That's it. But Thorpe was just not. So Swarm, I went on. It's not bad.
Where did you ride it?
Where did I ride it? I rode it in the 3rd row on the right. No, not on, the 3rd to the back row on the right, and the 1st row on the left. And it's not bad. It's smooth, sure.
It's very floaty.
It just didn't have that standout element where you go, wow, that really made the ride. It was just like people's rationale for liking it is just it's smooth, and
Well, to be
Yeah,
fair
it's
on it, it was the
smooth,
first wing over drop, so that was the element.
the wing over drop is really the only good part of the ride if you're in the front.
Oh,
That only
I really
works if you're in the
disagree.
front.
I really disagree.
But granted, the theming is pretty neat. The theming is good.
Yeah.
But yeah, people's rationale for liking it is it's smooth. But like mine trains are smooth. Mine trains aren't my favorite ride. But I don't know. And then Saw was very similar. It had good theming, and the drop was almost the only good part of the ride. But you do get airtime coming off of the brake run.
I mean, that's not true again.
I don't know what you expected from the park. Like,
No,
You've not got it.
I don't
you
know.
obviously expected this god tier park, but you saying that there's only
I didn't
Stealth's the only good
expect a god
coaster,
tier park. I
I've-
expected a park with okay rides.
but
Um,
they are good.
They
Thorpe
are
has
okay.
good rides, man. I'd say the only bad coaster Thorpe has is Colossus because it can be so temperamental with
Oh, boy.
what kind of ride it gives.
I don't know. Swarm and Saw were just, I don't know. People said good things about them, and they were just okay. They were passable. And the only coaster I didn't get on at Thorpe was X. That was closed.
Yeah,
And
you're not missing
then-
much.
Nemesis Inferno is one of the most forgettable rides I've ever been on.
It is.
Mimesis inferior.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. Yeah, it's not bad at all. It's
It's
not
good.
very. But Colossus is the worst coaster I've ever been on. It is objectively bad.
You got a
It's-
bad ride on it.
It may not be the worst ride experience I've had on a ride. That was Riddler's Revenge, and that's only because my feet were actually off the ground.
Ooh.
But
Man.
Colossus is, there's nothing good about it. There's nothing that's like, oh, that's kind of neat. The theming isn't good. The loop isn't good. The drop isn't good. The lift hill isn't good. Nothing is good.
No. Okay, I gotta
Even-
say, the whole area of Colossus is actually quite nicely landscaped. To
Yeah,
be
it's
fair.
nicely
It's very well landscaped, and
But
it's got very nice
soundtrack.
terrain to it.
For
Soundtrack.
straws here.
But
No, the
Oh.
soundtrack's god awful.
the
No.
soundtrack's really bad.
It is.
But the restraints are also horrible. They don't go down on your lap. They go down on like right above your knees.
and the train's very close. Each row is very close to the one in front, and it's very
and-
difficult to get in.
And don't you tell me that I went in a bad row. I went on the best row possible. I went on the third row, the row closest to the
how's-
front that wasn't a wheel seat. Okay.
Front row's the best row.
Okay.
I got a perfect ride on front row, so
Still wasn't good, but you know.
no, it was all right. I mean, the ride's really repetitive, isn't it? So
So you're
and-
saying SLCs are better than Colossus?
Yes, SLCs
I
are much
disagree.
better than Colossus.
I agree with you.
Infusion.
But
I disagree actually.
oh my gosh. And then Stealth was my favorite ride there. It really surprised me. The launch is really fun.
Yeah, it is.
I may just be liking Stealth a lot because it was a 5-minute wait when I went. But if you go in the back, you get airtime off of the top hat, and you definitely get a lot of airtime on the brake run hill or whatever you want to call it. And Flying Fish is fine.
Flying fish.
It's
Gotta
fine.
talk about flying.
And the other park I went to in Europe was Europa Park,
Mhm.
and that is my favorite park to date.
It's very good.
It's
Mm.
really nice. Everything there is just amazing.
Well,
And okay,
Eurosat.
Eurosat is pretty not good.
I was
Um,
more thinking about the how much ads are there for no reason.
Yeah, it's not nearly Six Flags level, but there are
No.
a lot of ads and sponsored rides.
It's
Uh,
annoying
yeah,
because they
there
don't
are.
need it.
So
Yeah, they don't.
the only rides I didn't go on were the mine train. Both me and Sam,
Alpine Express.
Alpine
Oh, yeah.
Express. Both me and
never
Sam,
found it.
we never found it. We never knew where it was when we were in the park.
I didn't
I
even
didn't
look
on
for
that.
it to be.
VR
I didn't
was
even
good.
look. I didn't even look for it to be fair.
I didn't get on that, and I didn't get on Poseidon.
Poseidon's rough.
But
The
Blue-
coaster section of Poseidon is really bad, actually.
yeah, it is.
Blue Fire is really fun. I love Blue Fire.
I agree.
It's
I don't.
great. It's not like intense,
No.
but
a
it's
very
just a
fun
really
coaster. Yes.
fun. Yeah, it's a coaster you can have fun on. It's nothing you have to like really gear yourself up for. You get airtime if you're towards the front. You get airtime going into the brake run.
You get
You get
airtime. Sorry,
Yes,
what
you do.
coaster was I on?
You get airtime going into the brake run, and you get airtime,
You were on the
You get
coaster
hang
of
time.
cynicism.
and
You get
you
hang
go.
time. I'll let you have that one. But
You get hang time if you're towards the front, and you also get airtime on the airtime hill going through the loop, which I thought was very
I-
interesting.
I didn't actually get much airtime on
You
that.
sound like me
if
about the
you're-
big one now.
I didn't get any
if
airtime.
you're, if you're looking for intensity, no, you get some on the whatchamacallit element that's on Maverick.
the
I
horseshoe
didn't
horseshoe
get any.
roll.
You get a tiny bit of intensity.
The horseshoe roll. Is that what
yeah.
No, it's
And
not.
Twisted Horseshoe Roll.
and the launch is pretty forceless, but it's still fun. You get some cool near miss elements, but the best part of the ride is the last inversion. You really get whipped around that thing.
I agree.
It's really fun, and I know this is a weird thing to say, but the bins where you put your bags in are the best bins I have ever seen on a ride.
The
They are-
automatically lifting ones.
They're amazing.
They are
You
very
put-
good.
They have those on Helix as well.
The bins open up, you put your bags in them on one side when you get in, and then you get out and go on, because there's 2 trains in the station, you get out on the train in the back, and you go around the other side, and there's a little panel that opens up on the other side of the bins, and you can grab your bags from there. They're great. And Blue Fire is now in my top 10. It's fantastic.
Wow.
And Woden was even better. Woden
Yeah.
is amazing.
Yes.
And I had some weird expectations for this because Harry said it was, before he said it, oh my god, it's my number 2, it's great, it's amazing, it's the best GCI, and after riding Gold Striker, I was really hyped for it.
I've only been on 1 GCI, I just said it was really good.
Okay, whatever. Well, it is the best GCI that I've been on, and after going on Gold Striker, that even made my hype even bigger, and then Sam went on it a few weeks before I did, and you didn't like it, did you?
I liked it. I just didn't think it wasn't as good as I was expecting it to be.
I really liked it. The pre-lift section is really fun, and the drop is really good. And you get some great airtime. You know the feeling you get when GCIs are kind of unpredictable, and they have these little weird airtime moments that just kind of jostle you around. There's so many of those that are just so fun. And it has really good theming. The queue line indoors is really cool.
Best themed GCI by far.
Yeah, when the doors open, when the gates open, these heads of witches that are
statues,
carved. Yeah, the statues.
The wooden statues. They're really cool.
They move, which is really cool.
How are the toilets?
You could.
What?
Yeah.
The toilets in the queue line.
I didn't go in them.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are there.
Yeah, and also there's
there's
concession
little
stands
snack bars in the queue.
Yeah,
lines.
that's really cool. I really like that. I wish more American parks did that.
What, you don't
Also
have
wish
that?
No, we don't.
We
I
don't
also
have
wish
Maryland parks anymore.
more.
Wait,
Vending machines now.
Wait a minute, like a snack bar?
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
queue line.
A little
There
shop.
used to be 2 at Great Adventure, but they removed it.
I also think more American parks should stop charging money for you to store your bags off of the ride.
That's
That's-
a complete sham.
Yeah, that's really. If you're like an executive in that runs some park, I don't know. Don't do that. It's not good. It just makes people hate you. Okay, that's the reason people don't like Six Flags. People when people write, if you look at all your bad reviews for Six Flags, all of them are just, I had to pay money to store my bags off of the ride.
And it's
Every
GP
single
and
one of them.
enthusiasts that
Yes.
complain about this. It's everyone knows it's bad.
And then, okay, well,
Next week, Ben.
Atlantica Super Splash was fine. It wasn't anything special. It's more fun off-ride than on-ride when you're getting splashed by it.
Yeah. It is.
Arthur was very fun. It had a good story.
Rest
It
in
had-
peace.
When the coaster goes outside, since it's a powered coaster, you just get thrown forward. It's really
you
fun.
do.
And that area inside where Arthur is, that dome, it's really, really cool. It feels like a fairy tale. It's great. And then whatever the Schweizer
Worst
Babon,
bobsled.
I was in the back, so I got kind of pulled over the drop, which was kind of cool. But it's pretty rough, and ironically, I was 4 hours after I was in the Switzerland section of the park, I was in Switzerland itself, which is kind of fun.
Do you want to just briefly touch on Silver Star?
Silver Star was really not good. I didn't like Silver Star
I simply
as well.
disagree.
I simply disagree as well.
Silver Star wasn't good. The drop wasn't very good.
Oh,
was
that's a
rough.
lie.
It was
It's a
rough
good
at the bottom
drive.
of it. It was
Back row.
It
Back row, you right seat.
Yeah, definitely.
it was. Oh my gosh! I was like 3 from the back row, I think.
It has so much airtime.
You
Yeah,
don't get
it
airtime.
does.
The
Yes,
only
you do.
places
What
you
coaster
get
did you
airtime-
go on?
The only places you get airtime are the only place you get airtime is going off of the helix. You get some nice airtime there, and the other kind of fun part of the ride is the little twister section at the end. That's fun, and Euromir is garbage. It's really
Euromir's
bad.
a weird one.
I don't like Euromir either.
I think the ending is fun, but like you have to go through a lot
Well,
not good stuff to get to
both
it.
It's very
Euromir
true.
and Eurosat, it's like pounding bass in your ear, especially
as you
Euromir,
have to,
while you're
as you like
while you're
spiral up through total
Yeah.
darkness.
yeah, for
both.
like a good 2 minutes, especially on
It's
Eurosat. You're going
very
for
bad.
2 minutes. The ending to Eurosat, I'm sorry, Euromir is actually
Did you go on Matterhorn
Kinda
Blitz, Tolgert?
Matterhorn Blitz is really fun.
It's my
I-
favorite Wild Mouse actually.
The lift hill is interesting.
I didn't
Yeah.
realize it had a
Mechanism.
vertical lift until I was
Yeah.
in the station.
Same. I didn't realize either.
I knew it had a vertical lift. I didn't realize it did that little tipping thing,
Yeah.
and that
Mhm.
gave me a
Yeah,
bit of
that
a
was really
shock.
cool. I liked that. I don't know.
Is that
Yeah,
Okay.
that's about it.
well? We are kind of edging into like 2-hour-long territory here, so I'll just briefly touch on my trip. I also went to Europe, like Tolgerb, and I went to 5 different parks: Heidi Park, Phantasialand, Europa Park,
Kolmarden.
not Kolmarden, Leesburg, and Alton Towers. I went to Heidi Park first. Heidi Park was an interesting one. Mostly, it was
You enjoyed Colossus, didn't you?
it was the one I was the most on the fence about because it was one of the ones I planned to go to before they announced that the big wooden coaster Colossus would be closed. And I debated like taking it off and maybe adding a different park, but I decided to stick with it, and I went to the park.
Carnan.
I went to the park, and it was fine. The coaster selection is not very good. I like 3 of the coasters. I like Desert Race a lot. It was my first accelerator. It's my favorite in the park. I like Flug de Demanen. I like Crake. Big Loop is fine. Limit and the bobsled are not very good. And the park looks nice enough. The front actually looks really nice. It's like it reminded me of Busch Gardens Williamsburg. And then the area like around the lake it's decent looking. Parts of the park look better than others. It's a fine park. It was a very interesting one to visit, especially it was probably the least of all the parks. It was probably the least friendly to English speakers, I would say, which made it quite an unusual experience. But luckily, the day after I went to Heidi Park, I went to a much better park, Phantasialand, my new favorite park, and also home to my new favorite coaster, Terran, which is I'm wearing my Terran shirt right now. Terran is incredible. It's intense. It has a lot of ejector airtime. It has a lot of almost I-305 level turns. It has incredible theming, incredible soundtrack, great atmosphere, lots of head choppers and near miss elements. It's basically everything I wanted it to be and more. And I just came off of it with like a big smile on my face and like just blown away and out of breath. It gave me just a great feeling. And that's why also the Vekoma family boomerang in the area of Phantasialand known as Rake, that was also a very, very fun coaster, a lot more fun than I was expecting. And Colorado Adventure, the mine train at Phantasialand was it's probably my new favorite mine train. It's actually a lot more aggressive than I was expecting. It throws you around quite a bit in a good way. It's not like rough necessarily. It just throws you around a bit. It was more aggressive than I was expecting. Black Mamba is a very good invert. It's not quite. It's probably just a little bit less good than Nemesis, but it's still. I only got a back row ride on it, unfortunately. But from I didn't get like the best view of the theming, I guess. But from what I saw, all the tunnels and bridges you go under, it's really cool. And then, Phantasialand has beautiful theming. It's incredible how they've managed to fit so much in such a tight space. The layout is a little confusing at first, but I think it's almost to the park's benefit. It gives it its own like atmosphere, I suppose. It's my favorite park. It's just so nice. But then after that, I went to Europa Park, and we basically already went on over all the things. I have similar opinions to Tolgerb, except I like Silver Star a lot more. I don't understand. I just don't understand.
It's rough and it doesn't have airtime. That's why.
It's not rough. Are you kidding me?
It's not rough.
That's
Yeah, it is.
ridiculous. Jesus.
I would genuinely like to see what you think of the big one.
Yeah.
I'm
Goddamn
so scared of Nitro.
Zach, you were like, Sam, you seem like you would like the big one.
No, just I'm scared for Nitro because I'm going on that in a weekend tomorrow finally.
And Nitro and Silver Star have similar layouts.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I've been on Nitro before, but that was like a while ago. That was like quite a few years ago. I don't remember much about
Nitro, apparently, it steadily gets worse. So.
Oh my god.
It does not.
Yeah, I'm
Fine.
getting a Toro.
According to Vinny and Pop Films, it gets steadily worse, but you know. But anyway.
Yeah, well, they've been on Toro as well, and they did not go on it on purpose.
Well, okay. Well, getting back to after I left Germany, I went up to Sweden and went to Leesburg. The thing about Leesburg is it's literally in the middle of the city of Gothenburg. And it has a very strange atmosphere to it. It's got a you can enter the park, not I believe you can enter for free if you don't ride anything, or you can get like a non-rider ticket and it costs less, something like that. But it has pay per ride. We ended up getting wristbands, and it's got a very strange atmosphere. It is sort of in a way it reminded me of Dollywood in a very strange way. But and it's probably the least themed of the parks I went to. It's very much like an amusement park. But I loved the rides there. I don't think I disliked a single ride while I was there. Helix is very good. The Helix, there is some mild vibration to it, which was a bit unexpected because Blue Fire didn't have that vibration. And also the launches, they aren't forceful at all. However, the inversions are forceful. The layout is very good, and the terrain interaction is fantastic. It's still a top 20 coaster. I just don't understand how anyone could rate it above Terran, not naming any names. Yeah. The coaster that ended up being my favorite at the park was Balder, the Intamin prefab. It was actually my first prefab. There was just airtime on every single hill in that thing. It was nonstop airtime, and it just gave me the best feeling, you know, the great feeling on the inside. But yeah, and then there's my new favorite flat ride, which is the Intamin Gyro Swing, new for this year at Leesburg, Loki or Loke or whatever. Very fun. And by the way, Harry, after some soul searching, I've decided that it does indeed have lap bars. You
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Conceded.
You won. That was an extremely fun flat ride. I love big swinging frisbee rides. They're amazing. I also went on my first Scream and Swing there. That was also a lot of fun. And Leesburg Banana was very fun as well. Leesburg Bahnen. Mechanica, unfortunately. Mechanica was one of the rides I was looking forward to going on. Unfortunately, it was closed most of the day. And I think those are all the rides I did. I think. Oh yeah, no, I went on Atmosphere, the drop tower. Really fun drop tower. Yeah. And then my last park I went to was Alton Towers, and I have some very unusual opinions about Alton Towers.
Oh my gosh.
Alton Towers was a park. I liked all of the coasters there. I didn't dislike a single one. While I did like some of the coasters more than Oblivion is
A drop tower.
it's not much of anything really. It's fun for what it is, I guess. I don't know. Spinball Whizzer is probably my favorite spinning coaster, which is there's not very many good spinning coasters in the United States, to be honest. But Spinball Whizzer is probably my favorite. And then there is Rita, which was not as good as Desert Race, but still fun, I suppose. It was fine. 13 was a big surprise. It was quite smooth and
Very smooth.
yeah, it was the smoothest coaster in the park. It's butter smooth.
Wow.
And and the drop track was very good. I prefer 13 to Verbolten after having ridden both, I would say. And then the Smiler. The Smiler was the coaster I rode the most while I was there. I rode it 3 times, and it got better every single time. I thought it was good the first time I rode it, and then it got better, and then it got even better. It's a very fun coaster. It has like a couple of jolty moments here and there, but like it doesn't really matter all that much because of how fun the coaster is. And I really like the theming and atmosphere it has. The atmosphere of X Sector overall is very good.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's not much else to say about the Smiler other than it's just a really fun ride. And then, okay, this is where things get interesting. Nemesis. So everyone who's been on Nemesis, or a lot of people are like, oh, it's just so intense. It's crazy intense, most intense thing ever. I know, Harry, you've said otherwise before. Nemesis, to me, it was a very good ride. I didn't think it was a great ride. I thought, I still think Alpengeist is a little bit better. I do like the theming of Nemesis. I just think that it didn't quite pack the punch I wanted it to have. The Helix is very intense. The Loop is very intense. The whole ride is intense. It's just not as intense as I was expecting. I still really liked it, though. And then the big surprise was that my favorite coaster ended up being Galactica. I really like flying coasters. I guess it should not have been a surprise, but Galactica was so fun. I love the part where you're on your back. I love the flying through the gate. I did enjoy the VR. I rode it with and without VR, and I thought the VR was pretty well handled, all things considered.
Mm-hmm.
Not as well as Six Flags.
Oh, stop.
Giant mutant spiders.
Giant mutant spider. Nah, but I really enjoy Galactica's queue as well. The theming and the atmosphere with the Imra score music is really good. It's nice to see like a more uplifting, a themed attraction at Alton Towers.
I guess so.
Instead of death and darkness and demons and yes. But
Smiling.
Well, yeah, the Smile is cynical, but very lively.
Lively is one word for it. But yeah, I enjoyed Galactica a lot. And then other things I went on at Alton Towers were Hex and Duel, the 2 dark rides. But yeah, overall,
the Ghost Train at Blackpool Pleasure Beach.
Overall, after going to Europe, final verdict, I have a new number 1 with Terran and a new number 1 park as well with Fantasyland. I liked all the parks I went to. I think Fantasyland, Europa Park, Towers, Leesburg, Heidi Park, which was kind of the expected ranking, I suppose.
You also went to Hyde Park, didn't you?
Oh yeah, Hyde Park in London, which doesn't have rides this time of year, but I did go to that. But yeah, that's about it for that, and I think that's about it for our little thing here, our podcast, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Kill me. But yeah, that's about it. I don't really. We don't really have a specific schedule at the moment. But I'm guessing there probably won't be one next week, but maybe week after. Not quite sure.
Yeah.
But and there'll probably be some different people. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. I hope to catch you all next time. Bye.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.